Assalamu alaikum students, welcome to the Iqra Civil Services Corner. 29 July 2025 we are going to start opinion analysis. एक opinion का analysis करेंगे, particularly important for the public administration paper, good governance, as well as the environmental science paper, and the recent events related to the floods, monsoon and all. IGP डॉक्टर सैयद अख्तर अली ने ये आर्टिकल जो है एक्सप्रेस ट्रिब्यून न्यूज़पेपर में लिखा है and the topic is a flood of negligence governance in crisis. So floods are not from the god, ठीक है, these are man-made or human-made, and there is a utter lack of governance in these monsoon-related incidents. So the crucial and important points I have listed here, you can see there is institutional failure. We have seen that there are a lot of deaths. There are a lot of deaths, and the actual figure I have mentioned in my article that I have published on the Medium platform, and the free link I will attach in the description because only members can read that story or that article, but I will attach the free link. You can see how many incidents are happened in all the provinces, Punjab, Sindh, KPK, as well as in Balochistan. And here, in the recent incident, the Swat river incident that we have seen, where 14 to 17 people were stranded in the middle of the river, and they were drawn as well as then died. And recently, the incident of Chilas, in which we have seen the honor of Shaida Islam Medical College, Fahad Islam has been died. एंड उनका जो बेटा है, उनके भाई का जो बेटा है, और इसके अलावा उनकी जो वाइफ डॉक्टर मिशेल, वो भी उनकी भी डेथ हुई. एंड दीज ऑल रिलेटेड, ये सिर्फ मोटे मोटे जो हम पॉइंट्स पढ़ रहे हैं. इसके अलावा जो डेथ्स हैं वो मैंने मेंशन की हैं अपने उस आर्टिकल में. यू कैन रीड दैट आर्टिकल, विद हेल्प यू डेफिनेटली. और उसमें लिंक्स वगैरह ऐड हैं, क्योंकि मैंने उसको जहां जहां से मैंने डेटा लिया है वहां पे मैंने लिंक्स उसके साथ अटैच किए हैं. So there is a weak infrastructure, there is a poor planning, there is a temporary responses. जब कोई बात हो जाएगी तो असिस्टेंट कमिश्नर को डिसमिस कर देंगे या उनको ऑन बोर्ड ले लेंगे. And there is no rigid or proactive response before that incidents. So there is a lack of early warning. Early warning एक basic infrastructure, basic mechanism होता है कि disaster preparedness में disaster को management करने के लिए early warning system are the key. और ये सबसे जो है आप कह लें कि आसान तरीन काम है, जो कि नहीं, there were no alerts to local or the tourist as well. और टूरिज्म जो है इट इज फॉर द इकोनॉमिक गेन्स, लेकिन टूरिज्म के लिए जो बेसिक सेफ्टी जो मेथड्स हैं जो प्रोवाइड करने चाहिए वो भी जो है वो नहीं प्रोवाइड किए जा रहे. ठीक है. एंड देयर इज अ लैक ऑफ ट्रांसपेरेंसी एंड द पब्लिक अकाउंटेबिलिटी ऑफ द ऑफिशियल्स एंड एज वेल एज द डिपार्टमेंट दैट वी हैव. फॉर एग्जांपल एनडीएमए, ठीक है, नेशनल डिजास्टर रिस्क मैनेजमेंट जो अथॉरिटी है. इसके अलावा डीडीआरएम, डिजास्टर डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल पे जो है देयर इज नो अकाउंटेबिलिटी एंड ट्रांसपेरेंसी इन दैट इंस्टीट्यूशंस. So that's all we will discuss in this all slide, and this is the opinion that is published in the Express Tribune newspaper. You can see years ago in the article titled Flood Mismanagement, I had outlined the critical fault lines in our disaster response framework. This is what we are discussing. हम ये नहीं पढ़ रहे कि इतने लोग मर गए हैं, इतने लोग फ्लड में बह गए हैं. We are saying the basic and the root causes of these incidents, and here the article that mentioned in the Express Tribune newspaper, and I have attached the screenshot so you will get an idea what we are reading. So disaster management is not an optional add-on to governance. It is the core component. From risk identification and early warning system to long-term planning and community education, effective disaster management requires constant attention, investment, and most of all, political will. Political will is very important because your leaders are going to handle these all the problems. Then आपकी जो grass root level पे जो nursery prepare होती है वो आपके साथ खड़ी होती है. Unfortunately, what we witness instead is a pattern of reaction rather than preparation. हमारे पास एक reactive government है, हमारे पास जो एक प्रेपरेशन जो की जाती है, जो मैनेज किए जाते हैं टास्क को, वो वाली गवर्नमेंट नहीं है. वाई बिकॉज टेम्परेरी रिस्पॉन्सेज हैं, देयर इज अ रिएक्टिव गवर्नमेंट, कोई मर गया तो आपने रिएक्ट कर देना, उनको एड प्रोवाइड कर देनी है, ठीक है। सो उसके नेक्स्ट इंसिडेंट ऐसा ना हो तो देयर इज नो, ठीक है, देयर इज नो मैकेनिज्म, सो डैमेज कंट्रोल रादर देन मिटिगेशन एंड रिट्रीट रादर देन रिफॉर्म, ठीक है, देयर इज अ कंट्रोल रादर देन मिटिगेशन एंड देयर इज अ रिट्रीट रादर देन रिफॉर्म। रिट्रीट होता है कि यानी कि नाम नहाद के आप नारे लगा देना, नाम नहाद के आप बोलना, ठीक है। So the framework of disaster governance rests on four interrelated pillars. There are four interrelated pillars that I have also discussed in this opinion के जो important points हैं. There is a preparedness, prevention, mitigation and community mobilization. These are the four pillars of disaster governance. Okay, so when you will get note down these points and you can add these points in the paper when you are going to discuss the good governance in Pakistan and the bad governance in Pakistan. Also, you can use these important points in the environmental science paper. So back to the crux or the main points. There is institutional failure, not natural disaster. It was not a natural disaster. It was an institutional failure, and we have seen how the people are suffering from these monsoon-related incidents. So there is a collapse of disaster governance framework. We have discussed these four interrelated pillars of disaster management: preparedness, prevention, mitigation, and community mobilization. But in Swat incident, as well as the Chilas incident, all were absent. So there was no preparedness, there was no prevention, there was no mitigation, as well as there was no community mobilization. We have seen it in the news, और हम देख सकते हैं कि किस तरीके से families were suffering. और अगर हम बात करें तो right now only in June you can see there are 234 Pakistani have been died in rain related incident. And flash forward since June 26, you can see the whopping number of how many Pakistani lives are miserably dying just because of this monsoon related or rain related incidents in Pakistan. So the next important points are there is a lack of early warning system. There is no early warning. There are no sirens. There are no the groups that are going to inform the people that something somewhere some area is no go area, because there is a issue. You can face landsliding. You can face flash flooding. So no warnings were issued to the locals as well as the tourists. So there is a we can see how our governance is not proactive but reactive governance. You can make the slide, you can make the heading like reactive governance or the proactive governance. So how in which category Pakistani governance falls in the reactive governance, not proactive governance. So there is a weak infrastructure and temporary responses. So infrastructure in flood prone areas like Swat remains fragile, ठीक है, weak है, fragile है, mismanaged है. Local governments are lacking funding as well as trained emergency responders. We were discussing that when we are going to cover when we are going to tour these areas, these northern areas, we must have some the local person with ourselves. Why? Because we are not well aware the area where is no go area, where we can see landsliding, we can experience landsliding or the flash flooding. So we must have the locals with ourselves. So they don't train the emergency responders as well. So they that locals also lack funding. So there is no mechanism. They promote tourism for the economic gains, but the safety methods are absent there. So failure to enforce laws and governance. So there is a lawlessness is a core issue in our Pakistan society. In every sector we see, in every department we see there is a lawlessness. There is a law and order situation. Rather it is a tourism, rather it is a political institution, rather it is an economic side. We see the lawlessness in every aspect in the Pakistan society. So there we have a reactive rather than preventive governance or proactive governance. So this is the thing. Our government is reactive. It is not preventive, right? So after the tragedy strikes, our committees are formed and inquiries are made, but no sustainable reform occurred. This is what we do, right? Assistant commissioner को dismiss कर देना या फिर जो है commissioner को dismiss कर देना और families को 10-10 लाख रुपया provide कर देना is not the real solution, right? So there is institutional fragmentation as well and bureaucratic confusion. Who will lead or who will cover the incident? कौन इस चीज को देखेगा? There is a confusion between in the bureaucracy as well as the federal level or provincial level. So there is a lack of coordination and role clarity. when you lack of the role clarity, you are unable to manage the situation. So this is what is happening. It is inside the Pakistan society. So tourism without safety framework, we friends were discussing that instead of visiting the northern areas, we should visit to the our Azerbaijan or Baku rather than to visit these northern areas, because इतना पैसा लगता है, इतना टाइम लगता है, इसके अलावा there is no safety mechanism. ठीक है, इसके अलावा वहां जाके we are strangled, इतने ट्रैफिक, इतनी हर लिहाज से lack of coordination भी नहीं है. So rather than visiting these northern areas, we people think like that कि जहाँ पे मरने और मतलब we are hearing after every passing day कि कितना northern areas में there is a lack of a basic safety measure, emergency preparedness नहीं है, और ecological balance there is a turning a blessing into a hazard. So ये political will is required for handling these issues. Disasters are not just act of God. ठीक है, डिजास्टर हमेशा जो है अल्लाह ताला की तरफ से नहीं होते हैं. वी हैव टू डिस्कस, वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड इट कि जो हम कहते हैं कि इतने लोग मर गए हैं हमारे गुनाहों की शामत ही, ऐसा नहीं है. देयर दीज आर द डिजास्टर दैट आर मैन मेड डिजास्टर्स. So disasters are often the result of human negligence, not divine will. We have to understand it. All right. So how this opinion is important for the CSS or PMS exam. Public administration topic, it is very important for the public administration paper where you will deal good governance or bad governance, as well as the essay paper. Essay paper where they can ask disaster management in Pakistan, as well as they have asked the essays like good governance or the crisis and institutional response. Pakistan affair mein you can use it. So that's all for today. You can join this discussion by sharing your views, as well as you can share this channel to other students. Allah Hafiz.